For the modern people, a very common phenomenon is always feel very tired. No motivation to work. No energy to study. Even to go out to play. With friend will soon feel tired. Let's go back. It's too tired. Sometimes even. You slept for a long time. You can't feel the energy is back. We are like a worn-out battery, which has just been fully charged, and will soon be out of battery. Because I have had this problem myself in recent years. I have to spend more time than others to complete the same workload. It wasn't until I looked up some information about sleep and rest that I found out that sometimes just sleeping more can't help us relieve fatigue, and we will become more and more tired. Today, let's take a look at what causes you to feel tired for a long time and how to rest efficiently to keep us motivated for a long time. Let's think about what we subconsciously want to do when we feel tired. The work in front of you is too tiring. Take a rest first and play with your mobile phone. Didn't you sleep well last night? You have to make up for it later. I don't feel today's coffee. I need another cup. Does it mean that my body has no energy? I need to find something to eat. But if you do one of these 4 things right away, it's likely to cause more fatigue. Why? Let's look at it one by one. When we work and study, we are actually consuming energy in the brain and producing metabolites such as glutamate. According to the latest research in 2022, as the metabolites in the brain become higher and higher, we are less willing to do things that require high awareness and delayed enjoyment, and more willing to do things that require low awareness and timely enjoyment. That is to say, the more tired we are, the more willing we are to play with mobile phones, eat junk food and buy things. And when we do these things, especially playing with mobile phones, we will accumulate more brain metabolites and make us feel more tired. Therefore, when we want to get a real rest between work and study, the first thing we need to do is to stop all things that stimulate the brain and consume brain energy, such as walking, meditation, or even looking at the ceiling and doing nothing, are more effective ways to rest. My personal favorite is a yoga-like sleep technique called Yoga Nidra, recommended by brain neuroscientist Andrew Huberman. This way is using by voice guidance. We can focus our attention on our own body, and by scanning our body, we can move between waking and sleeping, so as to achieve a calm and relaxed state. Because it only takes 10 to 20 minutes, it is more suitable for use during school and work than for real sleep. I will put some of the free voice I usually use in the comments section, so you can try it. It's really very effective. For me personally. Now that we know how to rest our brains, when and how often should we rest? According to the theory of chronobiology, there is a cycle called subcircadian rhythm in our body. That is, every 90 minutes, we will have about 20 minutes of fatigue. According to this theory, we can plan the day's schedule in advance. Give yourself 15 to 20 minutes to rest for every 90 minutes of work. As you can see, this is a secret place I come to every time I take a break. Since using this method, I can clearly feel that I can work longer and more efficiently, and I am not so tired at the end of the day. Second, let's take a look at why catching up on sleep may also make us more and more tired. Since last year, I've been using my smartwatch to track my sleep, and I find that every time I want to catch up on sleep during the day or on weekends, I always shorten the time of sleep that night. Not only that, if you make up for this sleep for more than 30 minutes, you will feel dizzy after getting up, and it will probably take an extra hour to regain consciousness. Why on earth is this? In fact, There is a thing in our brain that produces fatigue, called adenosine. According to the book, when we wake up every day, we are constantly accumulating adenosine until it peaks before we go to bed at night, which makes us have the greatest sleep pressure. After a good night's sleep, the brain cleans up the adenosine, so we feel refreshed in the morning and no longer feel sleepy. But if we catch up on sleep during the day, we are likely to clear some adenosine ahead of time, which will reduce sleep pressure for people who already have difficulty falling asleep at night, thus further aggravating insomnia and disrupting circadian rhythm. Not only that, if we catch up on this sleep for more than 30 minutes, we are likely to fall into a deep sleep with slower brain wave rhythm. If you wake up at this stage, because it takes time to speed up the brain waves, we will have a temporary loss of consciousness or even headache. So based on the above 2 points, if you feel very tired during the day but do not have the habit of napping, then the best way is to use the non-sleep techniques I mentioned above to rest, or simply stay up until night, so as to ensure that we have a better quality of sleep at night. If you've always had the habit of taking a nap, it's better to advance the nap time to about 8 to 10 hours before bedtime at night, each time for less than 30 minutes, or a complete sleep cycle, so as to avoid the deep sleep that makes us feel tired. So as you can see, catching up on sleep may make us sleep irregularly. And if you've seen this video, you know that if we sleep irregularly, even if we get enough sleep, we may feel tired. But if you are already irregular, how can we adjust our work and rest? The first way is to adjust it by light exposure to blue light within 30 minutes of getting up in the morning, especially from the sun, causes the optic chiasm in our eyes to close, recognizing it as day and secreting norepinephrine and cortisol to help us wake up. Reducing or avoiding blue light at night can effectively help our body produce melatonin, which in turn helps sleep. If you are in a place where it is difficult to get in touch with sunlight, then we can get a fluorescent lamp with a relatively high illumination index and turn it on at the first time after getting up, which will also have a good effect. In addition to light sources, we can also regulate circadian rhythms through changes in temperature. As mentioned in the previous video, taking a cold shower every morning will improve our alertness and make us wake up quickly. Studies have found that soaking or taking a hot bath about an hour and a half before going to bed at night can bring forward the time we fall asleep and after falling asleep, because our body temperature will continue to decrease. Studies have found that if the room temperature is too high, it will seriously reduce the length of our rapid eye movement sleep. That is, affect our ability to dream, remember things and process emotions. So adjusting our indoor temperature to around 18 degrees Celsius and sleeping under the quilt can ensure that we have a good sleep quality throughout the night. I believe that through these two methods, we will soon be able to adjust our work and rest, so as to achieve the purpose of alleviating fatigue. Next, let's take a look at why increasing caffeine intake may also make you more and more tired. You remember the adenosine we mentioned above, right? Coffee actually works by blocking adenosine receptors so that we don't feel tired for a while. But if we keep drinking over and over again, the body will think, oh, how can I have so much adenosine? So it will increase the number of receptors. And then if we don't drink coffee, there will be more adenosine combined with the receptors. That is, there will be greater fatigue. So what I used to do was the more tired I was, the more I wanted to drink coffee, and I ended up to the point where I could hardly work without coffee. So, even the FDA recommends that adults consume less than 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, or 240 milliliters cups of coffee. It's not a big problem. But if you're at a level like mine, you can Consider a complete abstinence for a while. The method I use is to remove all sources of caffeine, including Coke, milk tea and energy drinks, for 10 days. And then allow coffee only 1 day a week after that. Although these 10 days are really hard, the quality and time of my sleep have been greatly improved, and I can clearly feel that my energy is more stable. And on the day I can drink it every week, I can feel the pleasure of coffee again. Next, let's take a look at why eating can also make you feel tired. But everyone has experienced the feeling of drowsiness after lunch. But why do we eat more and more tired when we are refueling? The reason is that when we eat protein, it contains tryptophan, which helps the body produce serotonin. And serotonin produces melatonin, which makes us sleepy. If we eat fine carbohydrates on the basis of protein, not only will carbohydrates help absorb tryptophan, but they will also quickly raise blood sugar levels. And then fatigue will occur in the process of blood sugar decline. So as you can see, if we want to be less sleepy after a meal, we can try to stagger protein and fine carbohydrates eating, such as eating only protein, vegetables and good fats at noon, and moving all refined carbohydrates, such as rice and noodles, to dinner, will not only make our energy more stable during the day, but also help us sleep at night. But then again, no matter what kind of food you eat, if you eat too much at a time, it will cause a lot of blood to flow into the stomach, which will lead to insufficient blood supply to the brain. So it's also a good way to eat only 80% full at a time. Besides the above situations, is there any way to boost our energy? In fact, the best way is still exercise fitness. Many people will think that exercise and fitness will consume our energy. If we have been tired for a long time, won't it be worse and more tired? But in fact, the size of the energy trough in our body itself is not fixed. So as we age, we will continue to lose mitochondria in our cells. That is, the body will produce less energy, adenosine triphosphate, and 10 to 30 minutes of exercise a day can effectively promote the production of mitochondria, that is, increase our energy size of the slot. It is worth mentioning that the latest research in 2022 found that if you never exercise, strength training may be more advantageous than aerobic exercise. In improving sleep quality, start exercising. So if you have a problem with fatigue, start doing some strength training. I put a family training plan here, and you can refer to it. Okay, the above is the complete content of today's video. The content is very much, so I give you a summary. If you have some of the above situation, you can refer to it. But one thing, if you have more than 6 months of unexplained intensity fatigue, then please see a doctor in time, because this belongs to the category of chronic fatigue disease. That's all for today. See you next time.